Hi, I'm Anesha Thomas and welcome to Insurance Matters. We are in the month of October and October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In this feature, I will share a story with you, a good friend of mine and a client who has been diagnosed with breast cancer, not just once, but twice, and still going through treatment today.
So it was one random Saturday morning. I was watching cartoons with my daughter in my son's room, and my hand just happened to, hovered over my breast, and I felt a lump. Now, when I felt that lump, I wasn't 100% sure it was a lump. So I called my husband and asked him, put your hand on this and let me know if you are feeling the same thing that I'm feeling. And he said to me, I am feeling a lump. And I said, okay. I got up immediately and I went to the bathroom, I showered, and I went straight to the doctor. When I went to the doctor who should have been there on the Saturday wasn't there. This other doctor was there, and she's a very petite woman, very small. And so when she examined my left breast, she found the lump that I found, but she also found another lump in my other breast. But this lump was pretty small. It was very small. And she immediately did a letter and requested that I did an ultrasound. I did the ultrasound and I got the results and I took it back to her, and then she referred me to a surgeon in Portmore. We were placed in the doctor's office and my file was on his desk. And when the doctor came, he read the report 3 times. I could see the sorrow in his eyes. He wasn't able to bring himself to immediately tell us what was happening. He finally got it out and told us, that the diagnosis, the lump that I felt in the right breast, that one came back as being cancerous. After he shared that bit of information, I just heard my husband releasing a loud sigh, and I totally tuned them out after that. I can't tell you exactly what was being discussed, but I tuned them out. And I went inside my head. 3 things came to mind while I was there inside my head. The first thing was that, well, at least I'm gonna kill you now. 2, you need to buy yourself a black dress. And 3, you need to buy yourself a casket because you're going to die. That was what was happening in my head. And after the conversation in my head, I tuned back out and I was listening to the doctor, and he was saying to us that it's a lot to take in. And so he wants us to just go home, think about it, and come back with all our questions, concerns, and then we will plan our strategy, moving forward. And I remember when I left the doctor's office and we went into the car, I just broke right down. I cried and I started to think, but God, I'm not a criminal, I'm not a thief, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't go to dance. I'm your child, why me? And the Lord said, why not you? Why are you crying? I've allowed you to identify this thing early, and I've shown you what to do. So just do it. And that was it. 1.5 days it took me to get over the diagnosis and this monster called cancer. I was cleansed and, given certain medication, and, I had to change my whole lifestyle in terms of what I consume. We discussed the way forward in terms of surgery, what they will do, because we were deciding between a lumpectomy or a mastectomy. I decided that I wanted both breasts gone because I had 2 children already, don't need them. And my naturopathic doctor said, no, have the conversation with your surgeon about a lumpectomy rather than a mastectomy. And I did. And that is what I ended up doing, the lumpectomy, just taking the cancerous lump out and the area around it, and they also removed 9 of my lymph nodes. I've completed the chemotherapy rounds and I'm doing much better, and I'm about to resume my naturopathic treatment, because my firm belief is that because I was on the naturopathic medication and I changed my lifestyle and all of that, when the cancer came back, it came back at the same stage. It was never a stage 3, it never got worse in any way. It was at the same stage, which is not normally the case. Now, all of this is not cheap. Once you are diagnosed with a critical illness, especially one such as this, it is expensive. It is very, very expensive. And the funny thing is, I've been working since September 9th, 1999, and I came out of corporate Jamaica sometime 2017 because I started doing my own thing, consultancy. I've had insurance all those years, meaning combined with my husband and myself. And the time I got the diagnosis, I didn't have insurance on my side. Yes, I had it from my husband, but normally it would be his insurance and my insurance. And unfortunately, it came at the time when I just came out of corporate Jamaica. So you see how critical it is to have your insurance regardless. But thanks be to God, I had insurance anyways, because the surgeries are very expensive, number one. And I ended up doing about 5 surgeries in total. And that is right there, millions of Jamaican dollars that I did not have in pocket at that time. So I could not say, I'm gonna just take it out of pocket and pay. No. So if I never had insurance, I don't know what would have happened. And because I had insurance from my husband's company, I was able to do all my surgeries and pay the difference out of pocket. And then the cost for chemotherapy. That in itself too is very, very expensive. And even now, the follow-up visits, because I have to flush my port every 6 weeks, I still have to do follow-up tests. I have to do blood work, scans, ultrasounds, mammograms, and those are expensive. So it is very critical to have insurance. I never even had critical illness, and I was approached by a good friend of mine in insurance several times to take out a policy, but my thing was always, it's not in my budget yet. As soon as I put things together, I will consider it, and it never happened. Remember, it doesn't have to be anything significant. It can be what you have. A policy can be tailored for you, but the key thing is to make sure that you get a policy out. You never know when you will need it. It might not be today, it might not be next year, it may not be 10 years from now. You may never need it, but it is better to be safe than sorry. Because if I had critical illness, the money that I had to pull from my savings, I would have had it from the critical illness policy. So don't make that mistake. It is your life. Be smart with it. The same way how you prepare for school, for a wedding, to buy your house, for anything, do the same for your life. It's your one life that you have to live. So be prepared. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, always do your self-check. Don't be afraid of what you may or may not find. And remember, if you should find anything, act quickly. Don't be afraid. If you are afraid of going to the doctor, you have just signed and sealed your faith.
Like Lavendora, breast cancer could happen to you. It not just affects you, but your entire family. You can be prepared with health insurance and also a critical illness coverage. Now, with a critical illness coverage, you will actually have lump sum cash in hand to deal with the cost to cover chemotherapy, doctor visits, and just your follow-up visits, the treatments. And you know that these things is not cheap. It comes at a very, very high cost. With a carefully planned critical illness coverage, you can have lump sum cash if you're ever diagnosed with cancer. And it doesn't have to be cancer. It could be a heart attack, it could be stroke, you could even go into a coma. Now, today is a very good day to have that conversation with me. Let us talk about how you can get started on a critical illness coverage. You can get up to $50 million in cash if you were ever diagnosed. Have that conversation with me today. You can contact me at 876-449-6237 or email me at aneshamd@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.